Drink whole milk poster put out by Donald Trump feels racist because it is. And I'm sure a lot of y'all are asking yourselves, why would a political movement suddenly care about milk? Well, that's because milk is not about nutrition, and it never has been. It's always been about who America decides is the ideal and the correct kind of human. So this was not random. These posters first started in the 1900s America, right at the time that America was panicking about immigration. Sounds kind of familiar. And at this same time, eugenics was American science, pseudoscience, and they ranked human beings like dog breeds. Milk was sold as fuel for the ideal human body, which was always white, Northern European, tall, strong, and fertile. Milk became the symbol of strength, purity, growth, and discipline. And these posters overwhelmingly featured white children with pink rosy cheeks holding whole white milk. Meanwhile, Black Americans were labeled scientifically inferior. Asian people, Jewish people, indigenous people were all seen as biologically suspect. And at this time, it was widely known that non-European people, Black, brown, indigenous, Asian communities, were lactose intolerant. And white America framed this as weakness, not genetics. The framing was, if milk makes strong Americans and you can't digest milk, maybe you're not meant to be an American. In the 1940s and 1960s, milk becomes patriotic fuel, strong soldiers, fertile mothers, obedient nuclear families. The ideal citizen was white, heterosexual, Christian, and physically dominant, while Black Americans were only ever shown as physical labor or altogether invisible. We were never shown as the future of the nation. And that was not by accident. Milk was sold as national loyalty. Drink milk, build America, defeat the enemies. And if your body did not fit the template, then the message was quiet but very clear. It screamed, you are not the future we're investing in. Then through the 1970s to the 2000s, they tried to diversify the cast, but the message stayed the same. Lactose intolerance was still framed as personal failure. All non-dairy diets were made fun of. Dairy was positioned as the default, and other alternatives were seen as fringe, something to be mocked. See, science already knew that most Black, indigenous, Asian, and Latino people are lactose intolerant. Milk was not this universal nutrition that they were trying to push it as. But admitting that would mean admitting that the one true American diet was never universal in the first place. It was purely European. And now here we are in the big 2026, where they stopped being subtle. Whole milk has become a white supremacist dog whistle. It's tied directly to strong bloodlines, natural masculinity, and tied to the rejection of oat, almond, soy, which are all seen as weak, feminine, liberal. Online, white nationalist spaces use milk openly to reinforce the fact that they believe that lactose intolerance proves the European genetic dominance and superiority. They frame milk tolerance, dairy tolerance as biological dominance. So when they push this, they're pushing white supremacy. They're pushing patriarchy. They're pushing white Christian nationalism. They're pushing eugenics. Trump is signaling strength over sensitivity, tradition over adaptation, real Americans over everybody else. That's why milk is racist nostalgia in liquid form. The message has always been that white European, Northern European bodies are the standard. And if our bodies don't fit, then we should adjust or disappear. This is the same logic behind eugenics, behind immigration quotas, behind good genes and poisoning of the blood. Milk.
Hello, brothers and sisters. How are you doing? I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you're watching me from. As you know, I'm your host and presenter, Eugenics. In today's video, I just want to delve in this part of history that I think it's imperative that we talk about it. You understand that for the longest time, the black skin was taken as something which was not great. And when you get to understand the study of eugenics, eugenics involves, there is a scientific study which is called eugenics. And the eugenics stated or it favored a lighter skin and it gave them advantages over the black skin. And there's this part of history in the United States that I think we need to talk about. You see, black people were seen as not viable genes. Their genes were not seen as that viable genes. And these people preferred the whiter genes, right? They preferred the whiter genes. And the reason why they preferred the whiter genes is that they believed that white people has those good traits that black people don't have, right? And so over time, there was this campaign, there was this movement that created a discriminatory scientific, or do we call it? We call it, there is this pseudoscientific theory that these people came with called the eugenics. And the eugenics stated that white people had better traits or better genes as compared to black people. And so there was so much discrimination when it came to intermarriages between black and white people. There was so much division that came through this, and so much disadvantages that black people got to succumb to. There's a perfect case scenario that is happening in this video, and I think from the introductory part you've watched it. The milk, you see, we have people who are lactose intolerant. So they use the milk to symbolically show the strongness of people. So if you are a black person and you were lactose intolerant, they could say that you are black, you're not white. The milk is white, so you cannot digest the milk, so you are lactose intolerant. To mean that white people were better than black people. So that's how they took it. So you understand. So while this was happening, it created an illusion to white people that they have better genes as compared to black people. What is so diabolical is that as time goes by, people came to realize that that's not the truth, because black people have defied nature. They have lived in one of the harshest conditions. I'm gonna let you watch the video and then I'll be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. So let's watch the video. I'll be back.
Was never just milk. It was a measuring stick on who America thought deserved to grow.
Donald Trump has signed a bill allowing whole milk to be a part of the national school lunch program again. Because what better way to raise test scores than to make sure half your school has the runs by fifth period?
Signed a law that restores the whole milk in schools initiative, right, starting January 17th. And I want to talk to y'all about that real quickly, y'all. So the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act reverses 2010 restrictions that limited schools' milk to fat-free or low-fat options, right, y'all? Following a drop in consumption in new science supporting full-fat dairy, right? So bipartisan sponsors like Senator Roger Marshall and John Fetterman pushed the bill, which passed unanimously in the Senate and overwhelmingly in the House, right, y'all? Now, Trump tied the signing to his Make America Healthy Again initiative, joking about milk's cognitive boost, which it does not. While Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins and House Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. joined in celebrating access for millions of kids, right, y'all? Changing the rollout for the 2026-2027 school year with non-dairy options available. Now, Trump said it's actually a legal definition, whole milk. It's whole with a W for those who have a problem, because he thinks he's fucking smart. I just need y'all to understand that this is going to harm so many different kids, and it still is to this day. This has not benefited no kids. None of us drinking milk has ever benefited us. Me, myself, I used to drink milk wholeheartedly, eat eggs, thinking that, oh, this is helping out my bones, this is helping out my teeth. I ended up having periodontal disease and things like that, and I had to stop eating. I ended up having eczema, high blood pressure, all type of shit. I literally had to stop eating milk, drinking milk, eating dairy, eating cheese products and things like that, to learn that it had uric acid and it had lactic acid in it, and it was in my skin. One thing I learned was that my skin was the largest organ on my body. We all have to know that the skin is the largest organ on our body. When your body can't get rid of acid and it can't get rid of mucus, it can't get rid of certain things, it's going to show on your body. It's going to show with eczema, it's going to show with alopecia, it's going to show with acne, and so on and so forth. But your skin is going to tell you how your body is. But we literally sit down, y'all, and break down the effects of fucking y'all. Cow's milk has pus, blood, hormones, antibiotics, contains millions of pus cells, leads to osteoporosis, contains antibiotics which has growth hormones in it, right? It's very harmful to our planet, causes emotional and physical suffering for cows, right? And supports the veal industry. It is bad, okay, y'all? It's for baby cows. Us women, we're born with the tools, with breasts, to actually give our kids the nutrients they need when they come into this realm. And if you cannot do that, if the herbs aren't working, if a diet change isn't working, if you're just not aligned with source, because so many women have been taken away from source, there are alternatives that come from nature. You have hazelnut milk, walnut milk, almond milk, coconut milk. You get what I'm saying? Don't drink cashew milk, y'all, because cashews have lectins in it and you don't need that type of thing. But coconut milk has calcium, magnesium, selenium, zinc, iron. Hazelnut milk has protein, potassium, and calcium. Protein are amino acids, okay, y'all? Complex amino acids aren't the things that you need. You need your amino acids, your omega-3s, okay? Almond milk has calcium, potassium, magnesium, and phosphorus. You have soy milk. Now, I'm not really a big fan of soy milk, but over cow milk, I'll choose soy, okay? That has protein and many minerals that you need, right? Now, let's talk about some documents that I pulled up, right? So if you look up the public health risk of raw milk consumption, and this is from lessons from a case of pediatric hemolactic uremic syndrome, okay, y'all? Now, it says on here, it says pasteurization of raw milk is mandatory before sale in Canada and has been demonstrated to reduce the risk of foodborne illness associated with milk consumption, right, y'all? The consumption of raw milk sparks urgent concern from a public health perspective since it has been linked to numerous outbreaks by enteric organism, okay, y'all? Particularly, right, y'all, having I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce this word, but related illnesses and complications in pediatric populations, okay, y'all? So the sale and distribution of raw milk is illegal in Canada. Did y'all know that? Based on the significant health risks but growing popular interest and trends in consuming raw dairy products. Y'all, we have to get past this. Let's go to another fucking document. Gastrointestinal infections caused by the consumption of raw drinking milk in England and Wales, right, y'all? This is between 1992 through 2017, okay, y'all? It says systematic national surveillance of outbreaks of intestinal infections, basically disease, has been undertaken by Public Health England, right, y'all, since 1992. Between 92 and 2002, there were 19 outbreaks linked to raw drinking milk, right, y'all, or products made by using raw milk involving 229 people. 36 of these were hospitalized. Therefore, they followed an 11-year period between 2003 and 2013, where no outbreaks linked to RDM were reported. However, since 2014, 7 outbreaks of issues have happened, and people are literally sitting right here acting like this shit is supposed to be something that's beneficial to us, and is not. Ladies, gentlemen, stop giving this shit to your kids and acting like y'all. Babies come into this realm healthy and whole. They come into here with the minerals their mama providing them, right? And then they drink these bottles, right? And these bottles, they're throwing up, steady coughing up Belgium, steady throwing up, and they have rashes, their hair is falling out, all type of shit. That's extreme acidosis. Their body can't even digest that shit. It can't even. I just did a video on infant formula having heavy metals, arsenic, and so much more inside of it, and y'all are still giving it to y'all kids. Still giving it to y'all kids. Why? Why are y'all giving milk? Yeah, I just don't understand. Raw milk consumption has become basically a fraud. Okay, y'all, it's fucking fraudulent. It doesn't help us out at all. I'm not trying to yell at y'all or keep on going long in this video, but it's the truth. Okay, y'all. Among the educated fools who are now, basically because of poor understanding of germ theory of disease, but this level of child murder is a whole different level of human stupidity, okay, y'all? And it's the fucking truth. It's just as bad as someone, and I'm not sure if that smiling father of the baby understands how dangerous this is, okay, y'all? Any father, any mother who sits here and smiles with their kids and loves on them, and y'all act like y'all want to be surprised when y'all kids are sick, but y'all not recognizing that y'all are feeding them the things that's getting them sick. I don't feel no sympathy for anyone, because can anyone please track down the clowns who created this shit? Not just the first one who started broadcasting that milk was healthy for us. That's not like, you have had actors, basketball players, so many more people sitting on here posing with the milk around their fucking lips, acting like this shit was benefiting them. And the whole time there was propaganda. And my parents fell for it, your parents fell for it, but I won't fall for it. I tell my siblings every single day, don't give my nieces and nephews no dairy. I tell them every day, give them water, give them melons, give them berry, no dyes. If you just looked at the fucking cow milk before you were to raw milk is dangerous, okay, y'all? It can carry E. coli, some salmonella, listeria, brucella, causing bloody diarrhea, y'all, causing kidney failure, y'all, miscarriages, stillbirths, meningitis, sepsis, paralysis, and death. Acidosis, extreme acidosis, and yet the schools are giving this shit to your children, and you guys are allowing it. So don't complain when shit go left, when your son can't breathe. When your daughter's skin won't stop getting them rashes, when her PCOS is flaring up, her endometriosis is flaring up, it's vital to take care of your daughter's womb before she reaches that stage, right? But you're not doing it. It's vital to take care of your son's body before he reaches a certain age. And you guys aren't doing that. Take time to acknowledge the things that we contribute to that's fucking up nations to come.
I saw this video on Twitter that's getting ratioed to oblivion. It's a video of a group of white people, 20 or so, and they're having a raw milk party. And the caption is, "Milk is back." How do I ask this? Why have white people allowed their brains to be melted by internet garbage to the point to where they're like, oh yeah, raw milk over, pasteurized clean milk. I want my body to be full of E. coli and parasites. Give me raw meat. Is it bad for me? And will it possibly kill me? Yeah, but my ancestors ate raw meat. Even though that might be true, I still want to eat it. Vaccines? People used to live without vaccines back in the day, right? Just don't be one of the people that die from a disease. It's called survival of the strongest. Duh. White people used to mock minorities in third world countries for not having the technology and medicine that they had. And now they're voluntarily being like, fuck medicine and fuck technology. Generally, I don't understand. We need a study on why this is happening.
Want to go down the rabbit hole of how drinking milk plays into ideas of white supremacy today? No, I didn't. But here we are. Which means we can talk about how this is not just a dog whistle, but a blaring foghorn. Despite the fact that the Department of Homeland Security wants to call you a schizo for pointing these things out, which is yet another dog whistle, but I digress. The White House is going crazy for lactose right about now. And it turns out lactose is kind of what this all comes down to. This is according to an opinion article I found from Long Beach Current back in 2017. But apparently there were some articles released in the past, 10-ish years, maybe 15, which showed scientifically that people from the continent of Africa, or who are descended from individuals from Africa, have much lower osteoporosis rates, whereas white people tend to have higher osteoporosis rates. So we are encouraged to drink milk, something to that effect. And of course, this kind of information made its way to 4chan, where so many things do, and it was distorted and exaggerated to fit a racist rhetoric for white supremacy. This led to young white supremacists going out and shirtlessly chugging gallons of milk, because apparently that was touting their masculinity and their superior genetic. Because additionally, apparently, those of us descended from, the Europeans and folks who happen to have our milky white skin have a genetic mutation that allows us to process lactose better than many people from other parts of the world. This is from realclearscience.com, by the way. So apparently, because us white folks have a higher rate of this genetic mutation that allows us to drink lactose without discomfort than folks from other racial backgrounds, makes us superior in their mind. I love that this article includes this little dig right here. So even though the government's going to try and call those of us who notice these things and call it out crazy, who cares? We are recognizing patterns, and we are seeing here that they are continuing to post stuff that can absolutely be called dog whistles. And when it keeps happening over and over and over again in various different contexts, that's not coincidence, that's intentional. So while they are ramping up their talk about milk and how cool it is apparently, and trying to push sales of it and put it into schools, and they're posting pictures of various individuals that are in leadership roles with mustaches made of milk.
Do y'all remember when the Q folks were talking about the missing kids on the back of milk cartons were kind of just like cells? It was like window shopping, and then all those creepy Got Milk ads were telling you what celebrities were actually involved in it. Like they were pushing it in your face. I always thought the Got Milk ads were just the fact that Big Dairy was mad that people weren't buying milk anymore. Hell, I even remember in the 90s they were telling you to put Kool-Aid powder in milk. Anything to try to push the sales. And the reason I'm bringing this up right now is what is going on with the Department of Agriculture, the White House, everything. Everything on Twitter, every official page is milk ads. And I understand the whole raw milk conversation is big right now, and he signed some bill that way whole milk could go back into schools. And then all of a sudden, the entire government is pushing milk. But I remember scrolling through video after video of people breaking down those milk mustache ads. So why aren't the same people talking about it now? You pretty much have the entire government not releasing those files. So now we have celebrities and government officials now sporting milk mustaches, and no one connects those dots back. If you connected the dots then, why can't you connect them now? In reality, all this milk stuff is probably just to distract you from all the other fucking shit happening in the world right now. But I guess hell yeah, milk's back.
The Trump administration said that Tylenol causes autism, and they were wrong because the Trump administration doesn't know how to read scientific evidence, and doesn't understand that correlation does not equal causation. Well, now they're doing it again with milk. Here's a short clip of what President Trump had to say.
So milk would help your cognitive ability?
Absolutely. You can tell who's been drinking.
Take a cognitive test. I've taken a lot of them. I've aced every one of them because I drink milk.
It's good for it, and it shows.
This administration did not do any new research, and I bet they didn't even look at research that's already out there. There is some research that you can find that will show that kids who drink milk did better on cognitive testing and cognitive abilities than kids who did not drink milk when you compare them directly. However, again, correlation does not equal causation. What they don't have as far as evidence is to say, if we give some kids milk and then we give another group of kids something that is a replacement for milk, but is exactly the same as far as nutrition, calories, fats, proteins, breakdowns, all of that fun stuff, we don't have any evidence to show that they would do better. The kids who drank milk would do better than kids who are receiving the same nutritional balance every day. And that's important because we have excellent food scientists, and they have been able to fortify lots of different foods where we can have a population that doesn't drink milk that is able to replace it and be nutritionally exactly the same. Now, if you're going to compare a kid who drinks milk to a kid who drinks soda all the time, yeah, I bet they're going to have a lot different cognitive abilities for that. So again, correlation does not equal causation. We do not have anything that compares something with the direct comparison but a replacement. And also there's evidence out there that shows that there's no difference. So there's studies out there that show that there is no difference in kids who drank milk versus kids who did not drink milk. So for all you parents out there whose kids are either lactose intolerant, don't like drinking milk, you're going to be fine, and your kids are going to be fine. What the Trump administration is saying is not actually true.
Whole milk, and it's whole with a W for those of you that have a problem.
I guarantee you that Trump used to think it was whole milk until somebody told him otherwise.
We have an update from the White House. This came from the White House's Twitter account, as you can see, at White House. This is what they tweeted. Make whole milk great again. And then we have a picture of Donald Trump carrying some milk, like one of those old school milkmen, the milkman. Your wife is screwing the milkman. That's a Chicago reference. Let me know if you got that. But back to the topic at hand, what does this mean? And why are we doing this? Why are we making milk great again? What's wrong with milk? Who said that milk needed to be made great again? Isn't like half the country lactose intolerant? Are we addressing that? Is there like a milk agenda in Project 2025? I'm gonna need like all the politically astute people to come help me make sense of this. I don't need Trump to make whole milk great again. I don't drink whole milk. I haven't drinking whole milk in years. I went from whole milk to soy milk to almond milk to oat milk. And I like oat milk, so I'm going to just stay there. But, you know, if you need whole milk to be made great again, congratulations, because it looks like that. Well, let me not say that. The White House is saying that Trump wants to make whole milk great again. I haven't heard Trump say it. So don't hold your breath.
If y'all are wondering why the government is posting about whole milk, this I guess, is why. Yes, milk has been used by white nationalists as a symbol of perceived racial superiority. You can't make this up. Functioning as a dog whistle within their movement. Tell me that these people aren't getting paid.
This is a post from the Department of Agriculture, USDA, and this is also a white supremacist dog whistle. And there's going to be a bunch of people who are already collectively rolling their eyes and saying, what are you talking about? This is a dog whistle. And so is this. This was posted by the White House. Yes, they're doing this whole milk campaign because Obama took whole milk out of schools, and that's the angle they're playing. It doesn't change the fact that the terrible people think this is about them. And the whole white supremacist thinking that somehow milk is like a white superiority thing is insane.
This is not about milk, people. This was taken directly from the USDA Twitter account today. I don't care what you say, it's not about milk. Especially when this was posted from the U.S. Department of Labor Twitter the other day. One homeland, one people, one heritage. Put the two and two together, people.
What does this ad from the U.S. Department of Agriculture remind you of? Drink whole milk. The milk mustache is back. And it's in black and white. If it wasn't in black and white, it would be one thing. But this is very concerning to me. And I'm not sure if this is a dog whistle or it's just a coincidence, but I mean, that's sort of what a dog whistle is, right?
This is a dog whistle. Not going to argue with you about it. I'm just going to tell you the history of how it came to be. Back in 2017, a group of white supremacists who would go on to host the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally came up with this idea that the fact that Caucasian people have an easier time processing lactose than African people meant that white people were superior.
So the Trump administration has just posted this image. It says the milk mustache is back, drink whole milk. And this is not just about milk. This is an extreme dog whistle. Food is a principal tool in colonization. And when the colonizers came to America and started, colonizing, they forced dairy products upon the indigenous people because they claimed it would make them more civilized. Despite the indigenous people not being able to digest it, they called it poisonous, in particular the Mojave people who were on a primarily plant-based diet. The US government called them willfully ignorant and hopelessly lazy because they wouldn't feed dairy to their children. From the US government standpoint, drinking dairy was a part of the superior diet, and drinking it would help instill more American values. Studies show that 75% of African American, Jewish, Native American, Mexican American, and 90% of Asian American adults are unable to digest dairy products.
Hey guys, so this is a dog whistle, and if you don't know what a dog whistle is, I'm going to tell you to go to your local search engine and search up the definition of dog whistle.
From the Department of Agriculture, USDA, and this is also a white supremacist dog whistle. And there's going to be a bunch of people who are already collectively rolling their eyes and saying, what are you talking about? I was going to do a whole video on the history of this, and then V, Under the Desk News, did a great job, so I'm going to let them talk to you, and then I'm going to be right back.
Back in 2017, a group of white supremacists who would go on to host the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally came up with this idea that the fact that Caucasian people have an easier time processing lactose than African people meant that white people were superior. And they would exhibit this superiority together by taking off their shirts and chugging milk. This isn't even a secret. This is something that you can look up yourself. This is something that they're proud of that they do. And Donald Trump isn't even the first president to invoke the idea that whole milk, white milk, somehow improved white lives. Back in 1923, President Herbert Hoover was addressing the World's Dairy Council, and he said that whole milk is a nutritionally perfect white drink that is responsible for growing the virality of the white race. Many white supremacists will use a milk emoji in their bio to indicate who they are to other people. There was even a nod to sipping milk in the movie Get Out. This is a dog whistle. This is a dog whistle. This is a dog whistle.
This is a dog whistle. And so is this. This was posted by the White House. Yes, they're doing this whole milk campaign because Obama took whole milk out of schools, and that's the angle they're playing. It doesn't change the fact that the terrible people think this is about them. And the whole white supremacist thinking that somehow milk is like a white superiority thing is insane. The only reason that Europeans digest milk the way that they do is because of how long they produce dairy. Guess what? There are a bunch of cultures in Africa that raise dairy cows, and they can also drink milk. They're also not lactose intolerant. Basically, there's a gene in us that processes the enzymes in milk that usually shuts off as you get older because you don't need milk anymore. And for cultures that continue drinking milk, evolution just said, oh, let's leave it turned on. That's all it is. That's all that makes it happen. It's not about being superior. It's just about nature correcting. And now they're making posts like this to say, no, and it's too late. It was too many posts in the same week with the same messaging, borrowing from the same group for it to be a smoke and no fire. We see what you're doing. Don't let people gaslight you into believing that it's not happening. It's happening right in front of your face.
Y'all, white people drink milk because of racism. This was not on my big old card. I thought white people were just fucking weird. It was weird that they all drank fucking milk. And I was like, why? Who fucking drinks a glass of milk? Like, it's gross. Gross. It was fucking gross. And I didn't understand why it was like mainly white people drinking milk. And it turns out that back in the day, white supremacists believed that they were better and more superior because they could digest milk better than African Americans, aka wasn't lactose intolerant. So there was all these imageries of like these white supremacist nationalists just like drinking fucking white milk and like whole milk and being like, yeah, we're fucking superior. In that practice, because like they gaslit an entire nation into believing that if you're white, you drank milk. Whole time it was a marketing scheme to make people buy more fucking milk. We wasn't buying fucking milk like we buying milk, like, you know? So you drinking a glass of milk as a white person is because your fucking ancestry were racist or susceptible to racism, systematic oppression, one or the other. But if I were you, I would never drink milk again. Because first off, why are you doing that? That's gross anyways. But like now you have more incentive because of the history. This is my favorite thing ever. I love this.
What does this ad from the U.S. Department of Agriculture remind you of? Drink whole milk. The milk mustache is back. And it's in black and white. If it wasn't in black and white, it would be one thing. But this is very concerning to me. It says, drink up America, hashtag drink whole milk. And I'm not sure if this is a dog whistle or it's just a coincidence, but I mean, that's sort of what a dog whistle is, right? Something that could be washed off as a coincidence. And this certainly could be brushed off as a coincidence, but it's pretty explicit to me, so I find it hard to believe that it is. I think that we have a lot of fascism in this United States, and I think that the White House loves to play into that narrative. I think that they think it's funny, and I think that they somewhat believe it. I think that they try to hide it in some ways, but they try to embrace it in others. And this looks like one of the ways that they try to embrace it. I could be wrong. This is just my guess.
This is beyond belief. Donald Trump fell asleep during an event while it was being discussed that milk is good for the brain. Trump fell asleep, wakes up, and goes, I passed all my cognitive tests. If I told you even 6 months ago that this was going to happen, you would probably say, no, that's too on the nose. It can't be. Watch Trump sleep and then wake up as Ben Carson, who is not exactly a passionate and inspiring speaker, starts talking about the importance of milk for the brain.
It's the things that are absolutely essential for bone development and for teeth. But as a neurosurgeon, the thing I really like is the brain, what it does for the brain. You know, the brain starts to develop right after conception and adds millions of neurons every single day. Continues to do that right up until the mid to late 20s. Now, it's important what that brain is getting during the development. Is it getting soda or is it getting milk?
So milk would help your cognitive ability?
Absolutely. You can tell who's been drinking.
Take a cognitive test. I've taken a lot of them. I've aced every one of them because I drink milk.
So sorry to have woken you up, sir. So sorry. That's just the Oval Office and we're kind of in the middle of a meeting here.
Are we going to talk about this? I don't see anybody talking about this. Mind you, the Department of Agriculture, the official account of the Department of Agriculture, posted this. And it's kind of cut off, but up there it says, drink up America. Are we, right? You see what I see, right? This isn't even a dog whistle. This isn't even a red flag. This is a bulldozer. The stance he's taking, the face, the way, the background, the fact that it's in black and white, it's we get it. We see it. They're not hiding it. Like, they're not even hiding it. They're not even attempting to hide it anymore. They're pissing on us. They're pissing on us, and they're not even giving us the courtesy to call it rain.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. And I'm thinking that it's important for us to try to consider this. You get to understand the conditions that black people went through. They were so harsh. Trust me, if white people were put in those ships today, less than 0% could have survived in those ships. But it is because black people, there's this say that says that black don't crack, right? Black is strong, and it is true. Because all they try to say is that they try to portray black to be weak. Since a black person could not digest milk because they were lactose intolerant, they concluded that black people are not as strong and they could not digest white things. To this, white symbolized something pure, something strong, something better than black. And let me just go back to the Bible. Who told you that Satan is a black person? You understand? Who told you that God is a white person? For the longest time I checked, research are coming out that Jesus was a black person. So if Jesus is the Son of God, what tells you that God is a white person? God is not a white person. Definitely, God is a black person. So the eugenics idea was to pseudoscientifically lie to black people, to make them feel inferior about their genes, to make them feel bad about themselves, to stop thinking that they can do great things. But as time went by, black people started learning, black people started saying that all these things that these people are trying to do, they were just trying to make themselves look better than black people. And when you look at our curriculum, when you look at our history, a lot of inventions that we are always given the inventions that portray white people as people who do great things as compared to black people. And this is something that I can prove because our African curriculum, our literature is full of white history. Not until we had black authors that decided that enough is enough. We need to create our own syllabus. We need to teach Africans with their own experiences. We need Africans to have their own experiences, have their own part of story. And that's when African literature came into. And you understand that before that, all these things, all the things that these people are teaching us, all these things people are telling us, they were telling us to believe they're part of history without thinking that a black person could do one of the greatest things. So fast forward, in the 21st century, when we study between the white gene and the black gene, when we get to look at the most resilient gene, you'll most definitely realize or find that the black gene is the most resilient gene. Because get to understand the conditions that black people went through, get to understand the conditions that black people had to go through. And I can tell you as a matter of fact that when we try to compare, if white people could have been put in the slave ships and black people could have been put in the slave ships, you could see the number of white people being less as compared to black people. For the longest time, when we get to check the population and the mortality rates between white people and black people, now we are trying to look at the data and we are trying to compare which gene is the most resilient. The decline of white population, you understand that is getting down. Right? I'm talking about the 21st century. I'm talking about today. Europe is collapsing. The United States is collapsing. The most people that are still thriving is black people. The number of people that you'll find in Africa is black people. And the recent case study states that in a group of 7 people, most definitely you'll find 5 or 6 of them to be black people. And this shows you that the black population keeps on growing. The black population keeps on improving. And for the longest time, this is what they don't want you to know. And so I think it is time people wake up from all the lies, all the history, and what they told us about themselves, their achievements, and everything. It is time you get to understand and improve it. You know, white people have always tried to put themselves in the pedestal. They have tried to put themselves on the spotlight. When the Columbus came to the Americas first, they say that they stepped first in the United States, but they found people on that land. Black people were there. So all this, when you get to look at history, you find that these people are always putting themselves on the spotlight. They don't want the truth. So when you find people like you and I, or Africans that are teaching the truth, they cannot easily accept that. So I really don't know what you think about this video, but I really want to know what you are saying about this video. As you know, I'm your host and presenter Eugenics Stories, and I'm hoping to see you on my next video. Until then, peace, love, and harmony.